Let's go back to Jordan Myles, so long as the static is not intolerable for people. We'll go back to Jordan Myles. So we already kind of talked about what happened and how it's a depiction of blackface and everything. And I had asked Sean before we went to the video if you had heard any more about how this even happened. Forget about the political aspect of it. Forget about Jordan Myles' conduct for a minute. Just the fact that this thing was very clearly a unintentional depiction of blackface. How did that even get greenlit? Did you hear anything else about it?
No, and I've asked, and it's been a lot of hush-hush. I mean, I reached out to Jordan Myles, at least via the email that I last had for him and didn't hear back. But I was like, hey, listen, I'd rather hear your approach on it. But by then, he had kind of said, hey, I should have handled this differently on social media. But the color of the shirt goes a long way in this, which is what was specified in the emails when he was told, oh, Triple H wanted this. I can't believe that somebody wouldn't speak up and say, hey, bad idea. This should not go out there, and this is why. Because this is, if somebody's like afraid of their job or something, they shouldn't be. And I can't say that that's true. I can't say that somebody wasn't like that. Maybe they were. Maybe it fell on deaf ears. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact that it even got put out there,
yeah,
it's so bad.
Because it was so obvious. To me, the most disappointing thing about this whole story was the fact that Triple H is the one that greenlit it. And the reason that's disappointing to me is because Triple H, I thought, was kind of more aware of these situations. If it was Vince McMahon, not only would he have approved it, he probably would have put a pair of eyeballs on the shirt too. You know what I mean? But yeah. I thought that Hunter was more aware of these situations. And you know, some people are going to defend Triple H and they're going to say, well, he's got a lot on his plate and approving a shirt for Jordan Myles. With all due respect to Jordan Myles, he's not a top guy. And so you could defend Hunter and say approving a shirt for Jordan Myles is low priority and he probably barely looked at it. But the fact of the matter is he put a stamp of approval on it. And when you put your stamp of approval on something, you should damn well be aware of what you're doing, especially in today's landscape. The landscape that we're in now, everybody's so easily offended. Everybody's so hypersensitive. You have to know the landscape. And so whether it was a priority to Hunter or not, you got to be aware. And so to me, that's disappointing because I have a lot of respect for Hunter as an executive. And so, and that's disappointing. Now, I want to talk about Mr. Jordan Myles' conduct. Because Sean and I talked about this on, was it Monday, I think? And I told Sean straight up, whether this is a PR nightmare for WWE or not, you fire this guy. You release this guy.
They ain't doing that.
No,
I
know they're not, but if it was me, I would. And I'm going to tell you why. So when he started posting all this stuff, and more stuff started coming out, David Bixispan posted it on Twitter that the shirt design was replaced a month ago. And he asked Jordan Myles, how come you're only making an issue of it now? That shirt's not even live anymore. That leads me to think he has ulterior motives. And Jordan Myles responded to David Bixispan. He said some bullshit about, oh, this has been burning within me for a month, whatever crap he said. I think he had ulterior motives. There were people online that suggest that he wants to get released. I've heard that there's some morale issues in NXT right now, because certain people have been promised a jump to the main roster where there's essentially a promise of more money. But now with the USA contract, they're going to be staying on NXT, but apparently they have not gotten raises. And so apparently there's some morale issues. I question if he's looking to get released. He responded to at least one person on Twitter who criticized his conduct by calling them Tom, which is ridiculous. Then to make it even worse, he went on this Twitter rant against Ring of Honor and against Jay Lethal and Brady. Do you have the screenshot from that Twitter post from Jordan Myles? Yeah. So Jordan Myles posted this, fuck ROH2, they only allowed one African-American to be the top guy, while guys like Cedric Alexander, sorry, I can't read that because it's black and blue, but he said they had to chase the visible carrot, and then he called Jay Lethal Uncle Tom, which is unbelievable that he would use language like that talking about another pro wrestler. He went off about the WWE system. He took a shot at Hulk Hogan. Do you have that tweet, Brady?
Understandably, fuck Hulk Hogan. But...
yeah, I know your feeling on that, but this guy's still on the talent roster, and Hulk Hogan is higher up on the pecking order than he is.
Sure.
So he should not, be saying things like that. He said the whole WWE system is a fraud. They created the system, blah, 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 blah. Then where I think he crossed the line even more. Now, I think that posting something on Twitter calling Jay Lethal Uncle Tom, to me, that is a releasable offense. But I think what takes it a step further is he released a screenshot of an internal email from WWE. Do you have that screenshot of that internal email that the guy got from WWE? Yeah. It's like got a black background to it, the email.
Oh yeah, I'll kind of talk until it's up there.
Yeah, it's there.
There we go.
Yeah, it's there. Now, not only did he post this internal email, but he included the email address of the WWE employee in there.
So bad.
Now, I don't know about the confidentiality provisions in his contract, but I know contracts very well. I know employee contracts very well. I deal with them all day long. I would bet money that is a breach, what he did. And so my opinion, between posting that email and between posting a tweet calling Jay Lethal on Uncle Tom, I would be done with this guy. I'd be done with them. And I know you're saying they don't want to release anybody right now, and especially after the T-shirt thing and PR. I would be done with this guy. And even some African-American wrestlers, you can take that down now, Brady. Even some African-American wrestlers like Titus O'Neil and Booker T have come out saying they disagree with how he's handled himself in this situation. And then Jordan Myles, it looked like an apology, but it wasn't an apology. He posted a big message on Instagram, and this is it. And we don't have the entire thing because on the right side it scrolled. It was a lot longer than this, but this was the top of it. He said, "My tweets yesterday were completely disrespectful, unprofessional. I have offended a ton of people and used anger to fuel me. With that being said, I'd like to take this time to state an apology for not giving a shit about what others think of me. The anger I have inside of me has been built up for years now." Can you imagine, Sean, if he became a top guy with that kind of attitude? This guy, with all due respect to him, is nothing on the WWE totem pole right now. Can you imagine if he became a top guy? He's more trouble than he's worth. I would cut him loose. If he becomes a star in AEW, good for him. If he becomes a star somewhere else, good for him. If I was Triple H, he is gone. And that's just my opinion.
I had the biggest problem with the Jay Lethal comment. And
that's ridiculous, ridiculous.
Leaking the email address. Those were bad. People are going to get fired up. They're going to get emotional. They're going to say some stuff.
Yes.
And it didn't look great that he waited a month to say it, but maybe that was odd to me. But you know what? I'm not in his shoes. Yep. I don't know how he felt during this period. There's been a lot of stuff that I didn't see or notice or feel comfortable speaking out on that are far less important than that for far longer periods of time. So I'm not here to judge him about that. Leaking the email was just flat out immature. That is the type of thing that I think you should handle in-house. And if it doesn't change, go public with it. Sure. Go public with it and put dumbasses on blast for lying or whatever it is that he said that Baker did in that situation, because he indicated that Baker told him that Triple H had approved it, but he talked to Triple H and it didn't happen. So like I understand being upset and emotional over that. That was a stupid ass shirt, stupid ass design.
Yeah.
Dumb all around.
Yeah,
dumb all around.
Apparently, they told him that they were trying to shoot for the Rolling Stones logo. That was the inspiration. Nowhere close, but nowhere. But I don't know. Have you heard anything? Because again, the fact he waited a month, and again, a lot of people think that he's looking to get released, which is why he's doing this. Have you heard anything about morale issues in NXT? Because I've heard that some guys were allegedly promised a promotion to the main event roster or main roster, which isn't happening now because of the USA contract. Have you heard anything about that?
So I wasn't told anybody was promised like a promotion or anything, but when I asked certain people in NXT, are you getting a raise? They say, B. That's when it was moving to USA, and I haven't heard anything about that. I mean, there's some frustration there among a lot of people at the Performance Center. It's overcrowded, quite frankly. They don't have a lot of space there. They're stockpiling people with no plans. The thing is, there are people that have been hired there that the majority of the Performance Center that I speak to, at least, are like, why are they getting hired? What do they have to provide? It's literally just to take the possibility of a future star out of somebody else's hands.
You're right.
It's really wild. But yeah, there's a little bit of that among people I talk to.